and welcome to Soulful. All right. Hello again, and welcome back, or welcome for the first time. My name is Drew, and this is Soulful. And I'm feeling very equanimous in this moment. Yeah, very centered, very grounded, very present. After my 3-day meditation retreat. And so that's also what I'll share about in this episode, my journey with Vipassana. And I have a little outline here that I'll work off of to help keep things linear. But yeah, in this moment, feeling pretty good. Light, spacious, present, grounded. Realizing that, yeah, life moves pretty quickly and it sneaks up on you. Even if you're doing your best to pay attention. Yeah, just the volume of inputs and the speed that life is moving at and people are moving at. Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in. And it's hard to realize, hard to recognize until we take a step back or step out of the busy. And so, yeah, super grateful for the presence and the appreciation as a result of unplugging for 3 days. And just tuning into the breath, being aware of sensations, being equanimous. Yeah. And I'll share a little bit about the technique itself and some of the thought process behind that here shortly. So if you've never heard the word Vipassana before, by the end of the episode, you'll have a better idea. I mean, the best way to understand it is to experience it for yourself. So I would thoroughly encourage and highly recommend everybody participates in a 10-day meditation retreat. Because that's the initial opening door for Vipassana. But I also know that people have responsibilities and life stuff that they are not as willing to leave behind. So it's a big ask to take 10 days, but it's definitely worth it. And Vipassana has been, profoundly impactful in my life. And I'll give you a little bit about that journey too. Cool. All right. Let me check something off my list here so I stay in a nice flow. And apparently I can't read my handwriting, so I don't know what I wrote down here. But anywho. Oh, there you go. That's what it is. So my initial intro to the Vipassana tradition, these meditation retreats that are worldwide in the tradition of S.N. Goenka. And he gives props to his teacher. And I'll give you more on the background in a little bit. But I talked a little bit about my introduction to Vipassana last episode. During my years at the Omega Institute, one of the old heads there recommended a group of us check out these 10-day retreats because we were competitively meditating. And a 10-day Vipassana retreat is super intense. You're talking 9 days complete silence, no talking, no reading, no writing, no eye contact, no nothing. And then the day is chopped up into different hour and a half, and 2-hour meditation periods. And so you're putting in up to 10 hours a day of meditation. And so a 10-day meditation retreat makes a really sweet energy and presence and awareness possible, because you're investing 10 hours a day in meditation techniques for 9 consecutive days, or really 10 days, but 9 days where you're silent. So there's no outside noise. It's just you, yourselves, and I, and all of the eyes. Yeah, it's a trip, man. But yeah, that was my initial introduction. And so I think it was December 2008. I always forget what was my first year at Omega. It's either summer 08 or summer 09. But then that winter, so either December 08 or December 09, was then the first Vipassana 10-day retreat. And then I went back again the next winter as well. I was doing them over the winter break because I was in school at the time at Rowan. And yeah, man, the depth of awareness and presence that is facilitated for doing really probably any kind of meditation for that extended period of time where it's focused on just meditation, but specifically with these techniques too. Really cool. Again, can't recommend it enough. Go get your own experience. So yeah, first 10 days were at Shelburne Falls in Massachusetts, those 2 winter breaks. And then I did another 10-day in northern India, in Dharamkot, which was amazing. Yeah, like the Himalayan foothills and seeing the Himalayas on your walk to the meditation hall. And I had a real profound cracking open during that 3rd retreat. It also had to do with traveling to India alone, my first international travel. And I'll tell that story soon too, my first visit to India. But yeah, so 3rd 10-day was in India. The 4th 10-day came, when was that one? Hold on, my brain's going a couple different places. I think my 4th was in Texas. Yeah, 2018. Yep, I think that's when it was. But there's a center in Texas that's really cool, right outside Dallas. And that time I did a 10-day meditation retreat, and then 3 days later was in Peru drinking ayahuasca. So that was a cool back-to-back experience. And then 2019, 2018, I forget. I was out west in Oregon. Oh, 2019, there you go. I was in Oregon, and then I went up and did a 10-day in Washington State. Really beautiful center there. And then I hit the road in the RV, right. And then a couple months later was at the spot down in Georgia. Jessup, Georgia. And and did a 10-day there. Oh man, I didn't even realize I did 2 10 days that year. Yep. And so that was 6. Yeah, that was the 6th 10-day, the last one I did. And then this past week was my first 3-day meditation retreat. And if you're interested, like I said before, the first time that you experience this approach to meditation, the first time you participate in these retreats, you got to commit to a 10-day. And the reason being is it gives you a really full opportunity to experience the technique and its benefits. All right, so you're taking a full dose as opposed to the micro dose that I just got over 3 days. But the first time they want you to get a full dose, a macro dose of the technique so you can see the impact. And then you're free to come back afterwards for 1 day, 3 days. So if you really want to get into meditation, the initial hurdle is that 10-day retreat. But then after that, you can do, a variety of different shorter courses while you're still participating in normal or whatever we call this life illusion that we're living. So I've got to do multiple 10-day retreats. multiple centers. And it's really cool to see how much is similar, right? Like the core techniques, the core teachings are the same everywhere you go. They're recorded video, audio. So everybody's getting the same dose, the same direct download. But then the locations all differ in the property, the location of the center, the cuisine, the people that are running the center. And so, yeah, lots of cool little bubbles of Dhamma. That's what this tradition calls like the teachings, or, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways you can use the word, but yeah, lots of cool little bubbles of people on a certain wavelength that is present and aware and compassionate and loving. And so it's lovely to drop into these little communities and meet folks that are, that are just super cool. Like I met last night, we were, like the course ends and then we're hanging out on the last night. So it's like me, former Navy guy, another couple dudes are all talking about how Vipassana is different and complementary, but also similar to ayahuasca and other psychedelics. And just the journey of awakening or ego dissolution, whatever you want to call it. So we were chopping that up, which is, really nurturing, really fulfilling. And then I met this gorgeous Sri Lankan woman. She's from Jersey, but Sri Lankan descent. And, and she was like quitting her job and was going to be at the center for a month doing service and also doing her own meditation retreats, which I found super exciting. She was also excited, but a little nervous because, it's a big deal when you pull out of the matrix, or it's a big deal when you finally, kind of pull out of a life that's more externally focused and start to listen within. And so I could see the like freshness on her. She was like a little terrified, but also super excited and wide open. And so, it was super exciting to talk with her. And I look forward to hearing about her journey a little further down the road. And then this sweet old Indian woman that was running the kitchen. Yeah. Just good people. So if you're looking for really solid community and people that are on a certain wavelength, getting plugged into the Vipassana scene is definitely recommended. And I'm here in South Jersey now. The center that I went to is in Claymont, Delaware. So it's only a half hour. So if you're within the Philadelphia area, you have a center available within an hour drive tops, with some beautiful people and some really cool opportunities to learn about yourself and get invested in a meditation practice that has profound impact. And yes, I'm aware I might sound like a walking commercial for a lot of this episode, but what I found is, when we discover something that's really beautiful and really impactful, we want to share it. We want to tell everybody. It's like a very little kid, open-hearted thing to do. Yeah. And so, yes, I will be talking glowingly about Vipassana here and probably forever. But you do you. All right. So I've talked about Vipassana and the retreats and my experience with it. Now let me give you a little bit about what the heck it is, or a deeper dive into it. And again, and I'm going to keep saying this because it's literally tattooed on my arm, but go have the experience for yourself, right? Like go do your own work and find out for yourself how awesome this is. But I'll do my best to honor it and share with you a little bit of insight into the experience and the techniques. But I'm definitely not a professional teacher or the authority on this at all. And I've done, like I said, 6 10-day courses, which is a lot. It's more than most folks, but I'm still a noob compared to some of the folks that have like given their life to this. Yeah, the guy sitting next to me in the front row, this guy just like glowed. Like his eyes smiled and he smiled. And yeah, this little Indian man, very soft spoken, but just his aura, his energy just glowed. And so, yeah. So I was telling one of the other guys there, I'm like, look, if you wonder if this technique works, like, look at that dude. All right. So I'll do my best to share as I see it. And the word Vipassana actually means to see clearly, or to see into things or through things. Again, not sure of the exact definition there, but the whole point of investing in this approach to meditation is to gain greater clarity into your direct experience of life. And so they teach 3 techniques. The first one is Anapana, which is all about paying attention to the breath and just riding the breath in and out. And not doing anything intentional with the breath, but simply observing, being aware, being present with the breath as it moves naturally in and out. And this is done to really sharpen your mind, right? To really sharpen the focus. And in the 10-day retreats, you do that for 3 days. 30 hours-ish of just showing up and focusing on the sensation of breath as it comes in and as it goes out, in and around the nostrils and upper lip. And so after doing that for a while, the awareness of the sensations and the awareness of the breath, it becomes much more focused. And also, if you can ride the breath in and out, right, like really follow it all the way back and forth for an extended period of time, that gives you a depth of awareness, but also a consistent focus of attention. And then both of those qualities are really important for the second technique, which is Vipassana itself. And Vipassana is really just a body scan. Essentially, you start from the top of your head or the tips of your toes. I wonder how much Goenka is going to come through. So Goenka is the guy associated with this tradition. He's not the only teacher, but he's the dude in the discourses, in the videos, and the teachings. And so, yeah. And he's just this lovely old Indian man who's no longer in body, but yeah. So I might slide into an Indian accent at times. I promise it's it's totally loving. So Vipassana, yes. A body scan, starting top of the head, and then moving through your whole body. Face, head, neck, shoulders, chest, back, hips, legs, toes, right? Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. There you go. But with this really sharpened awareness, with this really focused attention. And the goal, as you're doing the body scans, is just to simply become aware of the sensations that are happening on the different parts of the body in that moment. There's nothing to do with the sensations, but be aware of them, though. And essentially what happens is by bringing a presence that is equanimous, non-reactive, right? Like very present, but not about doing anything. By bringing a very present awareness, a non-reactive awareness to the sensations that are happening all over the body, we're training the mind at a very deep level how to become non-reactive. And I won't get too deep into the theory of it because I don't really need theories. I've seen the impact in my life, so I know that this technique works. But if you go to a course or if you read a book that has some of the discourses in it, they'll break down, or Goenka will break down why this works. That essentially the reason humans suffer is because on a very base level, there's a lot of things happening in and around the body. There's a lot of sensations that we're not aware of, but that we're blindly reacting to. And so in order to change how we participate in our lives, we have to change the habit patterns of the mind at a deep level. And this is what these techniques do. All right, Anapana, by focusing on your breath, brings you into the present moment, really sharpens and intensifies the focus. And then by combing through your body with that level of awareness and presence, we're able to get in tune with the sensations that are happening and practice equanimity, right? Practice being non-reactive with the sensations. And that's the main technique, is Vipassana itself. The third meditation technique that they teach there is Metta, or loving kindness, or compassionate love, or, again, whatever word you like. But it's a technique where you're intentionally focusing on loving everybody, focusing the benefits of your practice for the benefit of everyone, right? Like really conjuring up some good, loving, compassionate mojo and energy, which they offer in the discourses is like a salve for the deep procedure that you're performing on yourself through the body scan meditation. So, yeah, cool. So Anapana, breath focus, Vipassana, moving through your body, a really intense body scan with equanimity, right, with non-reactive presence, and then Metta, which is all about deep, compassionate love. Love. So the guy Goenka, when he chants, or hold on, let me back it up. So every morning, and then usually at the end of every meditation, this guy does a little bit of chanting, and he's very intentional with like every vibration of his speech. And so when he talks about love, I'm saying love. But when he says it, like, I don't know, for me, I can feel like his love infused into every vibration. And so, yeah, it's like a heart tickle. And it feels really good, especially after, you just spent an hour sitting with a bunch of sensations, and a lot of them are not necessarily pleasant. Some of them are very strong, intense sensations. Like for me, I didn't warm up properly. I didn't prepare properly for this 3-day retreat. So I went in cold and was not ready to try to sit without moving for an hour straight. And that's what they ask of you a couple times a day. But I try to do it every meditation. I try to approach like that. And I wasn't ready. Yeah, I was pulling out like 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in. And and it was funny too, because I've done a handful of retreats, I was actually in the front row of the meditators. And the way they set up the Dhamma hall is the dudes that have done the most retreats are in the front, and it works its way back. And so I was in the front row and feeling good about that. Right? Like my ego meditator guy was like, yeah, look at me, front row seats. And 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 then I was having to pull out 30 minutes in, 40 minutes into these hour meditations, and then the like judgment and the mind noise that came. Yeah, it was intense. But just for the first couple sits, and then I was able to notice that. I was able to sit with that, observe the sensations related to that, and then that noise was less present. It was funny. Yeah, I'm sitting in the front row, the like meditation assistant teacher guy's like right across from me. I'm like, oh, this guy's seeing me. I'm not supposed to be moving, and I just, changed my whole seat up. He's definitely judging me. But yeah, like I said, that faded. And it turned out to be a really beautiful experience. And this meditation center in Delaware, it might be the only one that I know of that's in a residential neighborhood. It might be the only one there is in a residential neighborhood. Because usually to do one of these retreat centers, there's certain requirements. And one of them is that it's out in nature or out in the country, but near a big population center. Because, if you really want to unplug and dive into a meditation practice like this, you got to be removed. And so every retreat center that I've been to has been near a big city, but out in the middle of nowhere. Right? Like the one in Georgia, Atlanta's nearby. The one in Kaufman, that was near Dallas. The one in Shelburne, Massachusetts. It's out in the Berkshires, or the Berkshires. I forget how to say that. Which is then, near Boston and New York. So yeah, usually centers are out in the middle of nowhere, but this one was right smack dab in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And and then the one meditation session, the Mr. Softy song played for like half of it, which is great. There were obviously kids in the neighborhood getting some ice cream. And it wasn't Mr. Softy like swinging through. It was Mr. Softy camped out and with a line like long. And so that was pretty neat. We were talking about that afterwards. Yeah, and you don't talk during the retreat either. So it's like everybody's having their own individual experiences. And then it's fun afterwards when the noble silence is lifted. Or when the silence is lifted, and then we go to noble speech, which is essentially just be mindful of what you're talking about. Yeah, when we go to being able to talk, there's always some fun stories being told about everybody's experiences. And the Mr. Softy meditation session was was a popular one. All right. Let me pause here, check my list. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, it was neat to do a 3-day instead of a 10-day. Provided different challenges. Schedule's pretty much the same though. You're waking up 4:30, meditating for 2 hours to like 6:30. Then there's breakfast and a break. And then you're back for an 8 a.m. meditation. And then a 9 a.m. Or there's a 9 to 11 window. You can practice on your own. So it's cool. It's not like you just have to be in one spot all the time and people are watching you. Like you're entrusted with the opportunity. And so, like during the 9 to 11 session, yeah, I might sit for 45 minutes, take a break, hit the bathroom, get a drink, come back, sit for a half hour, and then pick my nose and, and let my mind wander for a minute, and then do another 20-minute meditation before then lunch at 11. And you get lunch and a break because you get time for digestion directly after meals. It's really cool the way it's designed. The whole experience is for you to get a really deep, intense, amazing experience with the meditation practice. And then there's a 2:30. Oh yeah, hold on. So there's lunch and then break. And then there's a 1 to 2:30 meditation window. Again, do as you please. Then there's a 2:30 to 3:30. Everybody sits together. And that's the one you're not supposed to move. And then there's tea. Oh yeah, once you do one 10-day course, you don't eat dinner. You just get tea. Which, yeah, like 6-7 days into a 10-day course with no dinner, you get to experience some hunger-related sensations. Which actually really helped me when I was hanging out in Thailand during the pandemic and had like rice and eggs for the whole week. But yeah, and then there's one more group sit where you don't move, or you're not supposed to move. That's the ideal. So you can really like observe and sit with whatever sensations are coming up that make you want to move and run away and quit and drive home. Yeah. And then they do discourses at night. So then you get to hear some teachings, some sharing from the Goenka guy. And then you're in bed at 9:30 to then wake up the next morning again at 4:30. And little side note here, I've talked with a lot of people who wake up in the middle of the night, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then toss and turn. I found that's one of the best times for meditation. So if you experience that, get out of bed and go do 10, 20 minutes of meditation, right? Like focus on your breath, calm your mind a little bit, and then it might actually be easier to fall back to sleep. And that's actually what I have done at these retreats, because sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and, Yeah. And it's very clear I'm not going back to bed. So off to my little meditation cushion I go. All right. Next thing on the outline. Yeah, this is cool. So you may ask yourself, Drew, why would you ever consider doing a 10-day meditation retreat? Like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? And I would agree, it's a bit extreme. But the rewards are equally amazing in measure. The benefits that I've seen in my life that I can directly connect to my participation in Vipassana meditation, both during the retreats, right, during these longer periods of intense practice, but also my continued meditation practice. Yeah. I mean, meditation is essentially the bread and butter of my experience. And I find that usually everybody's got something that's like the core. Like I was talking to my dad about it earlier, and he's like, yeah, like that's, for me, that's my kayak. He goes out on his kayak, goes fishing, and he's able to just kind of unplug and let it all melt away. Just be real present. And it fills him up. And for me, yeah, it's meditation. And after, 15, 16 years of practice? Yeah. Only within the last, since like 2018. Yeah. So I guess within the last 6 years. Time is just, like, what is time? Oh, man. Anywho. So the last 5-6 years, I've become a daily practitioner. And so I'm sitting almost every day. Most days in the morning is usually my sweet spot. I like to start the day with focusing on the breath, getting in touch with the body, and letting, like the first half hour of narratives about life and myself and the world just go right on by. I don't need a lot of that. And then it allows me to begin my day much more mindfully, much more engaged. And it's also why I won't schedule stuff, whether it's teaching or client sessions or social obligations. Yeah, I don't do much stuff in the morning because my mornings are for me. They're for me to wake up, move intentionally, really ground and center myself in this body so that I can participate with all the other human doings and knuckleheads out here. Yeah, and Vipassana has helped me really get in tune with my reactions and my reaction patterns in a way that isn't theory-based, in a way that isn't narrative-based. It's very much observing experience as it's unfolding. And this is a huge part of the stalking practice that I offer folks too. Because a lot of us have ideas about ourselves or the world or how we're participating. And those simply aren't like grounded in the actual experience. And then we suffer when things are out of alignment like that. And so investing in a meditation practice, investing in these specific techniques has helped me stay closer to the raw experience of life as it is. As Goenka would say. The reality as it is. Not as you want it to be. Not as you wish it to be. And really, I was hooked after the first 10-day retreat because of an experience driving home. Yeah, this is a cool story. Might be a nice point to wrap up here too. That January 2008, 2009, whatever it was, because I was going to the retreats and it was over. I would leave like the day after Christmas and then I'd come back after New Year's. And so it's January and I'm driving from Western Massachusetts back to New Jersey. And I have maybe 3 and change years clean. So not an active dumpster fire, but still quite the character and quite at the mercy of my reaction patterns and the stuff I'd been practicing during active addiction. And patience was not a strong suit from the beginning. I think I've shared about that. So driving, and I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate, driving brings out a lot of impatience. And it used to be to the point of like maybe rage, some might call it. Like, why are you driving like that? But also including lots of colorful descriptive words about a person and their driving technique. But yeah, I was driving home from Massachusetts to Jersey, and I was in traffic, and a car like ripped up on the right side. Yeah, I was in the left lane. Because, yeah, I'm from Jersey. We're in the left lane and riding you if you're in the way. So I was doing that, and then some other car driving faster came and like cut me off in front of me. And I didn't do anything. And it baffled me. The total lack of response, right? Like the lack of reaction. And this wasn't like the guy cut me off and I got mad and I talked myself down and said, oh, they probably have somewhere to be. You know, I mean, that's a good strategy if you're using that. But what happened for me was just a total absence of the reaction that used to be there. And I remember having multiple temper tantrums on my drive to that meditation retreat. But then the first opportunity I had to freak out on the way home, I didn't. And that absence of a reaction and that space that was there, yeah, it was like, ooh, this is something. Like, I don't understand entirely what's going on with this Vipassana stuff, but there's something going on. Because that response was not normal. Yeah, and then, you know, like the guy cut me off and then kept going, and I just kept hanging out and listened to the music. And I didn't spend the next 20 minutes in my head cussing that dude out and offering him a full critique about driving protocols. Yeah, I got back minutes, maybe an hour of my life that would have been spent lost in judgment and frustration and reaction. Instead, I was able to just hang out and enjoy the ride home and some music. And so that's the gift that participating in these retreats and continuing to invest in this meditation technique and this practice has provided for me. Much more of my life experience has been mine to choose or mine to participate in a way that is more compassionate, more patient, more loving, less reactive, less anger. And that shit's gold. If you could bottle that and sell it, everybody would be signing up for it. But unfortunately, you can't. You can't drink it or pill it. You got to work it. You have to actually show up and invest in the techniques for extended periods of time. And anybody that invests the time and the energy will see a return on the investment. Because this isn't rocket science. Although I did drive home earlier this morning with an astrophysicist from Princeton, which is pretty cool. So we were talking about Vipassana, and then we were also talking about black holes. Yeah, I told you, man, there's cool people at these places. But yeah, the techniques aren't rocket science. It's actually very, very simple. But very simple can also be very, very challenging. But very simple can also be super rewarding if we're willing to lean in and invest the time. And it's not easy at all. Yeah. Especially a 10-day retreat. Like, you will feel all of the feelings and meet all of yourselves. And hours in a row of meditation. Yeah, there are lots of very strong sensations in the body that arise. You might also refer to them as pain. But in the technique, the idea is to not judge them so that you don't run away from them or, resist. It's instead to try to show up equanimous right? Like non-reactive with whatever sensations are happening. And that essentially is how you cut through or break certain mental patterns, right? These reactive patterns. So, yeah, it's not easy to unplug from the world for 10 days. It's not easy to go offline and put down the screens for 10 days. It's not easy to sit for hours of meditation with all the sensations that arise in the body. It's not easy to not eat dinner for days in a row. It's not easy to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning. But easy doesn't really build solid presence. Yeah. Like easy is rarely rewarding. In the moment, maybe. But that's more of like a comfort avoidance kind of approach. But an experience like a Vipassana retreat, yeah, it's going to challenge you and break you and show you things that you didn't even know could be possible or didn't even know were there. And it might not be fun and there might be feelings, but on the other side, yeah, the reward is in the living. Yeah, I don't have any trophies on my wall for being a 6-time Vipassana meditation retreat guy. But I have the rewards in my life every day. And how I'm able to respond to situations and move more compassionately. And that was the big insight from this 3-day retreat. Yeah. I was sitting there on, I think it was day 2. No, it was day 3. It's like halfway through day 3. So it's kind of like the peak of the course, at least for me. But also like the energy building of being in silence and meditating without breaks. And yeah, and I showed up for one of the group sittings where you're not supposed to move, right? And really just observe what's present. And at least halfway through, my leg just was on fire. Just really strong, intense sensations in my right leg. And then it started in my left leg. And then it started in my back and my neck. You know, and like 90% of me just wants to run and leave and switch how I'm sitting and change something, anything, right? Just not be there for that in that moment. And yeah, but there was enough of whatever I am, enough presence, enough awareness to hold that, right? Like there was enough space for that experience. And so I got to observe all the sensations and the reactions to the sensations, and it was cool. And then there was just like a surge of energy that kind of became available. It was really cool. And part of the message that came through was, it was like, just love more. Like whatever you're going through, it can be too much, it can be intense, it can be whatever it is. And that can be okay as long as you have just a little bit more space. Just a little bit more love. Like life doesn't have to be easy all the time, or life doesn't have to go the way we want it to. And in fact, life can be pretty challenging and even miserable at times. And that can be okay if there's just a little bit more love than the challenging thing that we're going through. And we have a well of love within us that is unconquerable. I would say it might even be what we really are. And everything else fails to compare with the immensity of the love that we are, that we have available. And so in that moment, in that meditation session, with all of that pain and all of that sensation, there was just a little bit more space. There was just a little bit more love. And as a result, I was able to be present for the whole experience. It was really cool. And so, yeah, the mantra that came from that was love more. Like whatever it is that you're going through, just love a little bit more, you know. Or if somebody else is being a knucklehead or doing, you know, whatever they're doing because they're just trying their best to be a human. Yeah, like just love a little bit more, maybe. And this might be something fun to play with. You know, if you're in a situation and you find yourself falling into some judgment or getting critical or wanting to react, see if you can pump the brakes for a moment. Step back, take a breath, and love a little more. Have a little bit more space for whatever's happening in that moment and see how that changes things. Because it will. Things will be different if we can move from more of a compassionate, spacious awareness than if we get caught up in the reaction or the resistance or the judgment, right? And get sucked into that thing. So, yeah, man, just love more. I saw it somewhere. I don't know if it's a meme or it's probably some ancient wisdom. But essentially the greatest wisdom that there is love. The wisest thing we can ever do is love, or love a little bit more. So, yeah, I feel like that's a beautiful spot to leave things right now. Because I'm also noticing that as I sit here sharing with you, there are some strong sensations happening in my leg that I would like to change. But I'm going to love it a little bit more, a little bit longer, just to say bye. And then I'm going to go get some ice cream, I think. All right. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind with yourself. If you have the opportunity to try one of these 10-day meditation retreats, I really can't recommend it enough. The impact is profound and lifelong, and it opens up a really cool way of participating in experience in life. And I'll end the Vipassana commercial with that. Alrighty, y'all. I will see you a little further down the road. Love y'all.